Sony, the one and only.
So if you believe in Sony's quality and experience in consumer technology and entertainment, you might have bought yourself a Sony Xperia 1. This one right here is the Xperia 1 Mark IV, or maybe you're watching this in the future and you've got yourself an Xperia 1 Mark V, or maybe you've got one of the older ones. Well, if you have a Sony Xperia device, this video is for you. Here are some of the very best tips and tricks to enhance your experience with your Sony Xperia 1 from day one. So here's tip number one. The Xperia 1 screens are some of the best in the business, and as you already know, Sony is one of the only smartphone manufacturers kitting their flagships out with 4K displays. So let's make sure you're getting the most from it from day one. Go to Settings, Display, Image Quality Settings, and here choose Creator Mode. Now, if you enable Creator Mode, you're telling the phone to optimize itself for video content and to use the BT 2020 color gamut and 10-bit colors when supported. So this is truly how content should look. And if you do choose this option, I do recommend turning on real-time HDR. This allows the phone to analyze each frame of the HDR content you're watching to make it look better. Now listen, not everybody's going to be a fan of the Creator Mode. And for those of you who do prefer that kind of bluer tint and the brighter, more vibrant colors, you can go to Standard Mode and turn on Auto Creator Mode. So Creator Mode will kick in when you're watching video content on the phone automatically. If you do go with this option, I recommend turning on Video Image Enhancement. The difference that this makes to video content is pretty amazing. Okay, tip number two. So this amazing 4K OLED in the Xperia 1 Mark IV is a panel capable of 120Hz, but by default, it will only kick in when apps engage it. For example, a gaming app, if you set it to 120 frames per second, it will switch to 120 Hz on the screen. But if you want to test out the maximum quality of this display from day one, then do this. Go to Settings, Display, then High Refresh Rate. Here you can enable 120 Hz permanently. Disclaimer though, this will increase speed of the display, yes, but it will also increase power consumption. However, the battery size has increased on the Xperia 1 Mark IV, so you could experiment with this, leave it on for a few days, see how your battery reserves hold up. If you are getting that battery anxiety at the end of those days, switch it off. If it's not a problem, then leave it on and embrace the speed of light at 120 Hz. Tip number three. So this should be on by default, but on mine it actually wasn't, so I thought I'd better highlight it for you guys just in case it's the same on your devices. Go to Settings, go to Display, switch on Adaptive Brightness. It will help your battery life and visibility in general. And okay, I'll admit, that was a bit of a boring one. So here's a better one. Tip number four. In the past, Sony's SideSense was a little bit tricky to operate. Now it's easier than ever and more intuitive than ever. Go to Settings, Display, SideSense, and then within the SideSense setting, go to SideSense menu. Now, you need to focus and think carefully about what are your most important 8 apps. Once you've meditated on this, select your most important 8 apps to be present on the SideSense bar. And now that you've done this, whenever you double tap the SideSense bar, behold, your quick access apps are right there. Tip number 5, now go back to Settings, Display, SideSense, but this time go to Multi-Window menu. Here you'll need to pause again and think carefully about what apps would be useful in split screen. And you can only choose 3, so think wisely. For me, Maps and YouTube are a good combo because if you don't have YouTube Premium, you can still play podcasts in the background whilst using SatNav if you split screen them. Disclaimer, do not watch videos whilst driving. Well, not yet anyway. Maybe in about 20 years when Tesla have figured out proper self-driving cars that can travel at ludicrous speeds without crashing. But for now, don't watch videos and drive. Anyway, select your perfect app pairs, and now when you swipe up from the SideSense bar, your app pairs are right there and ready to launch. Tip number 6. So now you configured the Sony SideSense tool, it's probably a good idea that you learn how the inputs work. Go to Settings, go to Display, go to SideSense, and then choose Gesture Function Assignments. So by default, a double tap opens your favorite 8 apps, which we just configured. A swipe up brings up your 3 app pairs that you've configured now. And if you swipe down on the SideSense bar, it actually takes you back a step, which can be handy at certain times. And if you really want to, you can customize these however you like. Tip number 7. So if you happen to have a set of Sony headphones that are compatible with the Sony Headphones app, then you should definitely do this one. Go to Settings, go to Display, go to SideSense, and here turn on Add Headphone Control. Now when you double tap the SideSense bar, you get the quick access features like before, but if you swipe up on this menu, you'll see the Sony Headphones app, and there's some quick functionality that you can use on the fly without having to open the entire headphones app. I think this could be very useful for some of you guys. Tip number 8. So your eyes are important and you should protect them as best as you can. Too much blue light, particularly at night, is not good for you. And it's for this reason I do recommend you do this one. Go to Settings, Display, and Night Light. Here you can set up a custom schedule for your personal timings. So the blue light will be dialed back each night before bed, which should help you sleep better and protect your eyes at the same time. Tip number 9. So sound is certainly an area of expertise for Sony. It was the Walkman that was the breakout product for Sony and built them all the way up to the multi-billion-dollar corporation that they are today. So you better believe Sony have invested in some sound features here. Yes, the headphone jack is present, so that means 24-bit, 192 kilohertz is available via the wire with no lag. Not many phones can do that these days. And on the software side of things, there's some awesome audio features as well. So go to Settings, Sound, and then here we have a lot to play with. So definitely start by enabling Dolby Sound Dynamic because it just sounds better. Now, here's a decision you need to make. If you prefer spatial, open and airy sound, then enable 360 Upmix. This software attempts to convert regular stereo tracks into 360 reality audio, and it's a nice effect. Or here's the other choice. If you prefer details and a fuller sound, enable Sony's DSEE Ultimate AI. This software upscales compressed audio files closer to high res, but sticks with that stereo format. My best advice to you is test them both out with your favorite tracks and see which one sounds better to you. Once you figure that out, leave that setting on. Tip number 10. So in tip 9, if you preferred the 360 reality audio upmix, or if you really like to listen to 360 reality audio as a preference, then go get yourself some Q-tips, use them, and then run through this next step. Go to Settings, Sound, Quality, and then Audio Quality settings. Here you can go through the 360 reality audio setup process where you have to take pictures of your ears and the sound will be calibrated specifically for your ear shape. And I will say, if you already use the Sony headphones app, you've probably already done this, but just in case you haven't, take a look. Tip number 11. Okay, so I'm probably preaching to the choir here, but just in case you didn't know, Sony's camera sensor game is legendary and one of the best on the planet. So here's a little tip to help you with your camera game on your Xperia 1. Go to the camera app, go to settings and turn on the grid. This seems very basic, but trust me, it will help you compose better photos. Use the points where the lines intersect to line up your subject, and this will create more interesting shots. And also what's quite surprising to me is how many people struggle to center the camera on a particular subject. So actually using that center block to make sure someone's face is perfectly in the middle of the frame can be useful as well. Okay, here's another camera tip, tip number 12. If you're slightly more advanced when it comes to photography and you're using Sony's Photo Pro app and not the basic mode, then definitely do this one. Go to the camera app, go to settings within the camera app and choose shooting mode at launch. Change this to last used. So once you've done this, now when you push the shutter button, your last used mode will pop up straight away. This might help you save time and snap the perfect picture with precise pinpoint accuracy thanks to Sony's autofocus tracking and your masterful manual settings. Tip number 13. Okay, so if you often leave your phone on your desk at work or something like that, face up. When notifications arrive, they may expose personal information that you prefer not to share with the person sitting next to you. If you want to stop this from happening, do this. Go to Settings, Notifications, Sensitive Notifications, and select Off. Now you'll only see abbreviated versions of those notifications on your lock screen. Okay, tip number 14. So speed and ease of use are important, and Google's quick settings menu lives just above the notification shade. To access it, you need to swipe down twice. And what I suggest you do here is tailor this quick setting menu specifically for you. So hit the pen and remove any tiles that you feel are not needed by dragging them down. And then from the tiles at the bottom, choose the ones that matter the most to you and drag them up into the quick settings panel and organize these in the order of importance. Spend some time on this, do it once, do it right, and you'll probably never have to do it again. Tip number 15. So by now you've probably realized the Xperia 1 has a very tall display and it can be tricky to reach the top at times. So this tip will help you. Go to settings, go to accessibility, go to system controls, and here choose one-handed mode. Now you do have two options here. I prefer to use the notification option. When you do this, you can double tap the home button and this will bring down the notification panel. And if you double tap it again, it will bring down your perfectly organized quick settings menu without you ever having to reach for the top of the screen. Tip number 16. So as you begin to fill up your phone with apps, you may begin to realize it takes a while to find what you're actually looking for, especially if the apps are buried within folders, which is how some of the apps are by default. So do this and it will save you time. Swipe up on the screen and this will reveal all your apps, and in the top right corner, hit the 3 dots and set it to alphabetical. Now you can just swipe up and down the list alphabetically to find what you're looking for. This is just quicker in my opinion. Tip number 17. Okay, so I don't want to scare you now, but sometimes shit happens, and when it does, it helps to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. So go to settings, safety and emergency. Here I recommend you fill out all your emergency details and create some emergency contacts as well. Now, when you tap the power button 5 times, you'll be sending out an SOS to the world or to your contacts, the police, whoever. Think of this as your last resort in case of emergency. And yes, before you say it, you could set this up as your favorite pizza delivery service, but don't do that. Tip number 18. Okay, so if you've made it this far into the video, you're probably starting to realize how much time you're spending on your phone. So it's important to know that digital well-being is a useful feature within this phone. So go to settings, digital well-being, and enable show icon in the app list. So this will create an actual app that can be accessed from your app list and even on your home screen if you want to. What I recommend you do within this app is set up a bedtime mode schedule. So here you can tell the phone to kick in when you plug the phone in between a window of time, let's say 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. So as soon as you plug your phone into the power, anywhere between those times, it will automatically go into bedtime mode. Play around with it, make sure it fits into your life how it should. Tip number 19. Now sometimes you have to get things done, and it's times like this where you know what you're expected to do, right?
What do you expect me to do?
Focus. Focus, exactly. So spend some time to set up a focus mode. You can toggle this one on and off as you please. And remember that quick settings menu tip that we looked at earlier? You can add the focus tile to the quick settings menu at the top of the screen above your notification shade, so you can switch it on and off when you need to concentrate. Think about this one carefully, what notifications you don't need to receive when you're trying to focus. Okay, tip number 20. Thank you for making it this far. This one is a nice little custom cherry on the cake. That is your beautiful Sony Xperia smartphone. Go to settings, appearance, ambient display, and here go to sticker. So you can choose a preloaded IBO sticker like I have, or you could even choose photo from your gallery. And once you set up this sticker, it will appear on your always on display. It's just a nice little way to put your own stamp on your phone. So play around with this, make sure it looks good. And of course, here's a little bonus tip for you gamers out there. Go to settings, go to device connection, connection preferences, and game controller. Here you can pair a PlayStation 4 DualShock controller or a PlayStation 5 DualSense controller to use with your phone. And if you want to play some retro classic games, check out my top 5 emulators for Android video. It's on screen right now. It might surprise you to see what gaming possibilities are actually available to you when you know how. Anyway, Sony fans, I appreciate you for watching this one. If you just subscribed, you're now one of the finest subscribers known to man. If you got any value out of this, leave me a little comment and I'll see you guys in the next one. Don't be late.